So, what is a showrunner? When Leslie Headland was hired or made a deal with Kathleen Kennedy to run her idea as creator of The Acolyte, she was basically given the job title of showrunner, which means she had control beginning to end from pre-production, which means gathering writers, episodic directors, in which she ended up being the director because she couldn't find anybody, to gathering the cast and the crew and basically setting the whole thing up kind of like a producer would for a movie. And she also would be in charge of the budget. And her job would go from pre-production to seeing post-production through. And you can't do two things at once unless you're somebody like a person that I admire a great deal, Taylor Sheridan, who I'll talk about, who's got dozens of shows under his name, several movies, etc. Here, Leslie Headland will be the executive producer and director of this show called Night's Edge, about a girl being raised by a vampire mother. Okay. The article goes into a little more depth here. And Headland will be working with Freeform. She's the EP of Freeform's Single Drunk Female. And she also directed several episodes as well. I think she's back in her milieu rather than tentpole sci-fi fantasy like Star Wars. Now, here's what the definition of a showrunner is. Okay. This is what they do. And they usually, but aren't necessarily the creator. In the sense of The Acolyte, she was the creator. Okay. And here's the thing that certain people didn't know and put out there. They don't stick around for post-production. Yes, they do. They have to. They have a role from pre-production to post-production. That is a rule. Okay, so Taylor Sheridan, the first day of running Yellowstone, to pre-production, gathering Kevin Costner, the rest of the cast, Kelly Riley, etc., to post-production, seeing everything cut and set up. Okay, that's what he does. Okay, but this guy is so big now, he has other people doing the job. He's kind of like, if Steven Spielberg wrote Westerns for TV and he would have people like Taylor Sheridan running for him, running these shows for him. But that's essentially what he does. He's come out talking about the writer's strike and how it makes him want to quit TV, which would be a shame. This is probably the most talented writer out there. But he's got, I think, 2 ranches. He raises top flight quarter horses. And, he doesn't necessarily have to do this. But the fact of the matter is, with some of these shows, and the first shows, like, again, Yellowstone, he was there from beginning to end. And every one of the shows that is connected to Yellowstone come from him, not from anybody going, oh, Taylor, I have an idea. Can I pitch it to you? No, it's not. These are his ideas. So Yellowstone was the first. Kevin Costner was causing an enormous amount of trouble because he has an ego the size of the state of Texas. Was the first one of this, what they call the Yellowstone universe now. And it spun off 1883. It's spinning off a show called The Four Sixes, which is basically Taylor's ranch in Texas. And of course, 1923, which is my favorite of all of these, Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren. Harrison flew down to Texas to talk to Taylor, and without seeing a script, went with it. There are some really, really good writers now in TV and actors like Harrison Ford and Kevin Costner. And from what it sounds like, Matt McConaughey and Kurt Russell are taking advantage of it. It looks to me like Kurt Russell may be in the next installment of The Dutton Family in 1965, playing John Dutton's father. But this is what a showrunner does. Taylor Sheridan is the one. I think the person that they all want to become, but he thought it up. He created it. Usually, sometimes they don't, but they do. He was there at pre-production. He was there for the filming, production, when primary photography or principal photography wraps. He's there for post-production. Okay, that's what they do. It's basically they're there to oversee everything from the directors, the cast, the crew, everything they need, logistics, you name it. Okay, that's what they do. And the idea that since, quote unquote, add the laugh track, Acolyte is in post-production, that Hedlund could just walk away from it is mind-blowingly stupid and ignorant about how TV productions work. Okay? It really, really is. And I had to say something because I was literally speechless this morning at 2 o'clock in the morning when I saw my PMs. I'm like, what the? Anyway, just to remind you, they stay, if they are the primary showrunner, from pre to principal photography all the way to the end of post-production, period. Jon Favreau with The Mandalorian. He's another one. Okay? He stayed through everything. I think the only show, the two shows that he really wasn't able to fix and do well were Boba Fett and that was it because he was gone. But when the cat's away, the mice will play. Okay, but they're there from the beginning to the end, and the end is not principal photography anymore. It's post-production. Okay, that's the definition. I can't change it. I'm sorry if I blew somebody away with this, but there you go. This is Stephanie signing out. I'll see you around the galaxy.